Hi guys, I'm here in Cape Town International Airport and I'm here with a very, very special friend of mine, Verity Price, who's done something extraordinary. And we've just finished having breakfast together because she's brought me to the airport to catch my plane from Cape Town back to London, and I thought I would grab her while I could and interview her on her amazing project. So bear with us while we're holding the camera for each other, and hopefully this will inspire you to get out there and start living your dreams and being you. So V, tell us about your project, tell us what you've been doing, tell us how it started and what you've been up to.
I'm a singer and a songwriter, as you know. And when I realized it was going to cost 300,000 Rand to record a good album in South Africa and I didn't have the money, I was kind of faced with the choice, do I give up, do I get creative? So I chose the latter. I said, let me get creative, and thought if the problem is not having money to record an album and then not being sure you're ever going to sell enough copies to make your money back, I decided to turn that on its head and sell the album before I recorded it. So ask people to buy an album that didn't exist and actually invite them to create it with me. So give them the opportunity to come on my journey as an artist. So they could have their names listed on my website, they would vote for which songs I'd record, they'd have their names put in the artwork of the album, and we'd actually create the album together.
And what did you call the album?
I'm still deciding on the final name, but the name of the virtual album was Yet to Be. So it was all about living in the possibility of this album doesn't exist yet, but it will. And it was a very bold statement. I put it out on my website and I said to people, this is going to happen for 150 Rand. You can be counted as one of the people that makes it happen.
Wow, so these people were buying an album that didn't yet exist.
Yeah.
And the album was called Yet to Be, and then they got a demo in the meantime until such time as the album was finished. And you sold how many copies so far?
I've sold 1,800 copies in 25 countries.
1,800 copies of an album that doesn't exist. That is incredible. And how many more copies do you need to sell before your album's complete?
Okay, well the album we actually finished recording last year because I'd raised enough money, and we're now just getting ready to release. My first single's gone to radio, which is very exciting. And I only need to sell 200 more copies. So it's a limited edition of 2,000. And at 2,000 copies, it'll go into stores, and the stores will obviously get a very different album. The limited edition future owners are going to get their names in the artwork. They get a whole, you can putting together a video of the journey to actually get to really see what they've made possible.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And the thing I didn't say is, because I decided to try and do it so differently, I also wanted to see how I could make a difference, because I think it's very important when you're following a dream to have it contribute to something bigger than just your own personal success. So I set it up that 16 Rand from every sale went to help other musicians get started and to help empower other women in South Africa. So 8 Rand went to Power and the work they do empowering women, an incredible organization, and 8 Rand went towards helping other singers. I started a foundation called Live Your Dreams. So I'm sitting at this point where nearly 30,000 Rand's gone to those 2 charities, and I've paid for 2 young singers to record their first demos, and I heard a few months ago that the first singer, Mimi and Tenjoy, has just landed a record deal as a result.
Wow. So you really are living kind of all the principles that I teach in Designer Life. It's all about taking your dream, turning it into a reality, taking your passion and somehow figuring out a way to make money out of it, and contributing and giving back through whatever you do. And you've just done that in so many amazing ways through, I know you gave away 46 bursaries to university last year. Tell us a bit about that.
That was, it was a big lesson for me because, I started a project to record an album. I thought, this is how I'm going to get my music to the world. I want to make a difference while I'm doing it. And I would, there been a whole lot of things that have shown up along the way that I couldn't have expected. And one of them was that I was approached by Educor. They're a big educator here in Africa. And they made me an ambassador of education, and they gave me 40 bursaries worth 5,000 Rand each to award to people that needed to, further their studies. And it was unbelievable to me because it has nothing to do with music, it has nothing to do with me being a singer, but it has everything to do with inspiring and uplifting and making a difference. So there was a big lesson for me, is that I'd set an intention that was bigger than just music. Yeah. It was about making a difference, and all of a sudden I was getting the opportunity to make a difference in areas that I could never have anticipated when I stepped kind of into the unknown that you do when you start following a dream. I kind of stepped out there and said, right, let's see what happens. I know what my intention is, I know where I'd like to get to. but along the way I've gotten to give 40 people the chance to study, which is incredible. Yeah.
So where can people buy your future album and be one of these 200 people who help make the album happen?
They can buy it on my website, iamverity.com. And you can have a listen to the songs there. It's really easy. You can either pay with credit card or bank transfer, whatever works for you. And you get to be on that list, which I'm getting really excited about. It's almost at the 2,000 mark, and officially when that goes out to the world, we will actually have made music history in South Africa. And it's about these 2,000 people, because I just had an idea, but without everyone who's come on board and supported, an idea is worth nothing.
And I want to thank you, because your idea has inspired so many hundreds of people around this country and around the world to start to take on their ideas, and that it's possible. And if you just think creatively and think out of the box, anything is in fact possible. And you've been a shining beacon of light for that, a real ambassador or ambassadress for anything is possible. And I take my hat off to you and I acknowledge you. You are the most incredible woman. Well done.
Thank you. Well, that's the message for me, is anything's possible when you say I can. And you have to just keep affirming that and keep getting creative. I think it's always about allowing yourself to adjust course and say what's working, what's not working, how can I do it differently. And the more we ask how can we do it differently, the more interesting and different answers we're going to come up with. So my message to everyone is life's too short. You actually have to get out there and start living your dreams today, because the one thing you are guaranteed is the journey, and the journey is what it's all about. So
the journey and death.
Yes, so the two things that are certain.
Make the journey, the best it can be.
Make the journey fun. I'm so grateful for this one.
Alrighty, I gotta go catch my plane. Thank you so much, and good luck selling those last 200 albums. Maybe we can get them done off this website.
Hope so. Bye.